Hello.
What an intro.
So we're in Irwin at the Super 8, and we're just waiting here for John's parents. So
Waiting for a while.
Yeah, we've been waiting for a while. So we've decided to get off trail. Oh boy. Decided to get off trail. We're about 350 miles in Irwin, Tennessee. And a couple days ago, we kind of talked for a little while and came to a decision about hopping off trail. So we're going to kind of go through a few of the reasons just to give you guys the update on it so we don't leave you hanging. Before we do though, I'll still be posting all of the videos from our journey. So I still have like 4 or 5 videos in the pipeline all the way up to this point. We're on day 32 today. And the last video I posted was day 12, was the last day. So there's still, 15 days worth of content that I'll be putting out that will show our journey up to this point. I won't stop doing those. Those will still come out. I'll still post some pictures on Instagram showing the trail along the way. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, so we wanted to give you guys kind of our reasoning for getting off the trail. Would you like to kick this thing off?
I feel like we both have very similar reasons.
Yeah,
so.
Both of our reasons are pretty similar. We were out here for fairly similar reasons. If you guys can go back and watch my video on why I'm hiking the Appalachian Trail, and most of the reasons aren't so much about like finishing the trail, but things like kind of getting rid of all of the distractions in life and just pursuing God and figuring out, what the next step in life is and what clarity I needed to continue on. So spending that time and be like, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? There's a lot of confusion and distraction in life. So for me, coming out here, that was like the primary reason, was that.
Thank you for kicking this off.
Yeah, I said, John, would you kick this off? And then I kicked it off. That's often how our relationship goes, though. Oh, shoot. So what was kind of your primary reason as well? There you go.
I'd say a big one was, the primary one was rest and kind of relaxation, which is not... it's different because obviously the trail doesn't necessarily offer that in what it is. You're hiking all day, and so like that's not necessarily a relaxing thing for a lot of people, myself included, because that's like it's exercise for literally the entire day. But it's a change of pace is the bigger thing, literally, in fact. And so when you go from, most of my scheduling would have been 2 weeks out at any given time prior to coming out to the trail, to where for me to sit down with someone or to have a cup of coffee or to put anything into my schedule, like it would have to be done 2 weeks ahead of time. And so when you get to that level of busyness, like you just start looking to rest, and a part of that decompressing, that was one of my primary goals, was that change of pace and coming to the trail and kind of living in an aspect day by day, because that's all you do. It's like, you're like, all right, I'm gonna take 8 miles today, I'm gonna take 15 miles today, I'm gonna take 22 miles today, whatever it is. Look and plan for elevation changes, distance, resupply, things like that. And then at that point, you start actually making the decisions to do that day. And so like each day becomes its own day. And you become very focused in that day about like what the bigger goal is, but at the same time have the ability, within the 4 hours it takes to hike X amount of miles, you don't do anything but hike, or you listen to an audiobook, and you just rest and reflect. And so like, even though with that change of pace, like the focus and intentionality and devotional practices that come in the day can be much more full, much more in tune, much more like steady. And so that's been a nice 30 days of that, to where It hasn't been I have had to think about and just keep rolling with whatever schedule I've set in place 2 weeks ahead of time, but rather I can take every day and in that be attentive and focused in every day. And so that's allowed for that rest and relaxation and like the daily focus to really be restored in a shorter period of time than I expected to be. Like I allowed for the opportunity for that to take the 4 to 5 to 6 months that it would take to hike the trail, but I didn't need that. And it only took the month that we did hike, which is what I started weighing the pros and cons of what I'm getting out of hiking in the day versus what I feel like I've been called to work on in these seasons. That it became more apparent that I should be back working on things, particularly during this time, as opposed to out here hiking, because of where my mindset has come to in it. So that's just kind of the primary thing, is that the primary purpose I was out here, the main purpose was that restoration of focus and restoration of just attentiveness in the individual day today, and allowing that to come into play in this season. And so that's what it's done in just the 30 days, which is nice because I feel like part of that is also because I've already processed through a ton of stuff. And so like coming out here wasn't me working through 6 years of backup, but it was me working through, I don't know, like maybe a year and a half at most of backup of just cycles of life and busyness. And so like that's been restored as it should be in my mind, and with the Lord, to be able to say at peace that like I'm okay going back at this point instead of trying to finish out the trail, because I don't think it's going to offer much more than what it's already offered at this point at the place that I'm at now. Yeah, so it's brought us to, we're both really content and satisfied with our experience so far with the 30 days that we've spent out here hiking. You know, like John was saying, we've accomplished a lot of the goals we set out to accomplish, minus finishing the trail. In that he's been able to work through some things and have that relaxation and that kind of reset for him. And I've been able to work some things and kind of have that confusion cleared away and know where I need to be intentional now, where I kind of allowed stuff to cloud my judgment previously. So, knowing both of us that we have these things that we know that we should be doing now, that we know we should be intentional in doing now, and then saying, well, we're going to still hike the trail anyways, it feels like we wouldn't be being wise with our time, and we would just be finishing it just because we liked hiking, and neither of us really thinks that that's a good reason to continue, for us at least. And then on top of that, we have the virus stuff going on right now. So it's there's roadblocks now ahead. A lot of stuff's shutting down, particularly starting in Virginia and then going north. There's a lot of stuff shutting down. So it just makes the decision a little bit easier. So I cut it off now. Yeah, like if you're trying to get onto the trail right now, like the beginning park is closed, Emmacola, you can't even register, you can't get on. Harper's Ferry, the midpoint, that's closed right now. Katahdin is closed, so even if we made it to Katahdin, the mountain, we can't even go up because that's closed. The entire Shenandoahs are closed for overnight camping. All the national parks. Yeah, Smokies are closed, which we already made through, fortunately. That's completely shut down. You'll see that video soon. Closing parts of Virginia at this point, and Vermont. And they've already petitioned to close the entire trail from the national government, who technically has control of the land. Yeah. So like they're already kind of out for not having people out on the trail, and the places that are more populated have already been shut down. The people who are continuing to hike, their hope is that stuff will reopen by the time they get there. Yeah. And that's a possibility. It may go ahead and reopen. I just want to show you guys some of the effects that COVID-19 is having on the trail. It really has shut down a lot of stuff. We kind of got into some of our personal reasons in the first part of this video, but really the virus has made it increasingly difficult to stay out there. It shut down trailheads and national parks and all sorts of things. Hostels, hotels, they're starting to be forced to shut down. A lot of states like North Carolina, you couldn't find lodgings. Shuttles are increasingly hard to find getting from the trail
into towns, so it's been very difficult to hike at all. If you go to the ATC website, you'll see how these closures and the spread of COVID-19 has continued to severely limit hikers. So we're getting off the trail. John's parents should be here in the next couple hours, and we're gonna head back home. It's been a really great experience. It's been super awesome.
It's also, I think it's a 10.5-hour trip from
you gotta sit up a little bit
from where my parents are at, and I think that's our 350 miles has only increased that driving distance like 3 hours at most.
yeah, we'll be able to drive in 5 hours what it's taken us 30 days to hike.
Which gives you a great perspective on distance.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. So, I can't speak for John. I love hiking. I love being out in the wilderness. So I'm a little bit more emotionally attached to the trail than he is, just because I like being in the mountains so much.
I've had emotions on the trail.
Yeah.
So attached to it.
So, I may come out a little bit later in the year and do some more hiking on the AT. I don't think I'll finish the AT, but I'm thinking about, once the restrictions are lifted, coming and hiking into Virginia, just to spend another couple weeks out here, see some friends, that kind of thing. But most of what we wanted and what we needed has been accomplished, and we know what the way forward is for us and what that looks like. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're going. Stay tuned for the rest of the content. There's some good stuff coming up. You'll see us suffering through the Smokies real soon, so that should be fun. We appreciate your guys' support and your love. It's been great, all of our friends and family, and those of you who've come alongside us. The fundraiser is awesome. We've raised over 50% of the amount of funds for that. All of that money will be going to Wellspring International. I'll make a video showing the donation of all of that and what that's going to look like. It's going to really help the victims of human trafficking. I appreciate everybody who supported that and has donated to that. Super cool. It's great to see that kind of community come together with that. One more shout out to my parents. Thank you guys for all of your support. They sent us care packages all the way through. I mean, just made it so much easier having that support system. A lot of people out here don't have that opportunity. So thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. All my brothers and sisters home. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys later.